in this weekend review, I want to do something a little bit different. What I want to do in this weekend review is I want to show you the process that we take when we get hired to optimize a short-term rental. So let's dive right in. When we get hired to do an optimization of a property, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go on to Airbnb, and then I'm going to do a search for the property. Now, currently I put April 25th to the 27th. It's kind of short, but I know that the calendar is empty, so I picked these days, right? So the first thing I notice is the property is not on the first page. It is going to be, and if I'm not mistaken, it's on the fourth page because I already looked, and here it is. So here's the property. Now, this host is a Superhost, and this is why I tell people all the time, do not stress over that Superhost status. It does matter in terms of overall bookings because there's a lot of people that are going to be looking for that Superhost status. Although I'm noticing as time goes on, people are realizing that Superhost status really isn't as important as the reviews. In addition, what you need to understand, especially if you follow my channel and you are a traveler, you're going to avoid that Superhost status because oftentimes you're going to pay more, right? But anyways, so let's go on there. They're on the fourth page, so we need to figure out why they're on the fourth page, and I'll go into that in a little bit. But right now, let's just look at the listing. I've always mentioned about the actual listing itself as to the most important part about the listing, obviously, is going to be well, let's go back for a second. It's going to be the money picture, right? It's the first picture. It's going to be the money picture, and that's what's really, really important. The next thing is we want to look at here where it says beautiful colonial home, 3 bedrooms, 5 bath. You have luxury and exclusive apartment, duplex apartment, right? In the past, the name of the property was important because it would be listed, but today, as you can see, it's not as important. This is important though. See 4.92, which is the rating. That's very good. Hence why they're Superhost status. But once we get in there, we're going to see why this property is having a hard time. Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you two things. Let's go up here and let's look at pictures, right? So we have in this page, which is the fourth page, we're going to see all these money pictures, right? And I'm going to scroll through to see if anything really catches your eye when we do this. Okay? Now I'm going to count something. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to count this one as 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pictures out of 18 pictures that really pretty much shows a living room or dining room, and that's pretty much it, right? So more than half of these pictures are very similar. And as I always mention, you want to stand out and you want to show something that's not as common. And I tend to believe that the best pictures are going to be pictures featuring the outside, right? For example, this one features an infinity pool. I think it's really cool. This one also features the outside. Looks like it has a jacuzzi. It has a nice view. We go through here. Not really the best picture because it's really not showing the outside, but it's also the outside. So just to give you an idea why I'm a big fan of views, because that's where people like this one. This one is not that bad. I would have focused more on the sunset or the sunrise. I don't know which is which right here, but I would focus more on that. But you can see yourself sitting down there and enjoying the sunrise or the sunset. It's just beautiful, right? You can see yourself doing that. Versus here, like this picture here that I'm showing, it's really not showing much, and it's really too common. Doesn't stick out. So let's go back to our picture. Our picture is this one, and although you have a nice view here, I would have angled this. If this is your best view, I would have angled it so that this part here is really your main focal point. So now let's go ahead and click on the actual listing. And let's look at all the pictures to see if there's a better picture that I would have put up. And me personally, heck yeah, man, I would have done a better option of staging this picture. Now, this picture for me, it's not a good picture. First of all, it looks like it's a cloudy day. I would not have taken this picture on a cloudy day. I would have waited for the day to be super sunny. But I would have created this picture as an experience picture by either putting some wine glasses, cheese platters, I forget the name of the cheese platters, but I would put a cheese platter, some wine glasses, some wine there, some wine here, and I would have taken it maybe from this end, focusing on the actual view of this rooftop jacuzzi that they have here, or small pool, right? But you guys need to understand that pictures are of the utmost importance. And as you can see by these pictures, this isn't in the historical district, so there's not a lot of lighting coming in, but you need to put in lighting. You need to make sure that these pictures pop. And again, I would create more of experience photos because they have very little experience photos here. Their money picture is okay, but again, the focus should have been of this, and then I would have placed plates, silverware, cups, some food. I would have made this more of an experience photo, right? So now, let's move on to see what else we can optimize here. On a side note, you see this where it says this is a rare find. You know, if you're a traveler, these are the little icons that you want to look at and see why. Now, I'm going to tell you something else in a second and I'll show you in the end. But let's just go on to the actual listing itself. As you see here, she has 145 reviews in this property. This is phenomenal. There's absolutely no reason why a property that is Superhost has 4.92 is not showing up on the one or two pages. But I'm going to tell you why. In addition, they don't have the guest favorite badge, which I think the guest favorite badge it's one of the best badges you can have out there today. She does have a highly rated host. Laura has received 5-star ratings from 90% of the guests, which is good. This part is good. But now let's go on to here, right? When you're here, the space, this is what's limited here, right? This is what you have. You have to click on to see more, but this is all she wrote about this property. I am not a fan of how she put this. Okay, she's adding stuff that's not necessary because we're going to be able to see that in the listing. I'm going to show you how I prefer for that to look. But now, the last thing I'm going to talk about in terms of how she's showing up, or the stuff that she shows up here, because this is very important, how a potential guest is going to see it, is the following, right? One of the main reasons why this property is showing up on the 4th page is because of its pricing. At $378 a night, it is much higher than almost all the properties on here. In fact, on this particular page, it is the highest price right? By far the highest price out here. I mentioned this before. Airbnb is in the business of making money. Airbnb is also promoting itself as a alternative to a hotel, as a cheaper version of going to a hotel. And she really outpriced herself, which is why she was dropped to the 4th page. It really should not, it's a shame because it's a great property, but she overpriced it, way overpriced it. So we go back here. And let's look at the actual calendar itself. 14, 15, half the month is not booked, right? And if we were to clear my dates, and then let's go on to another month. We go to June, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days not booked in June. This is another issue. As you can see, they don't allow people to book that far in advance. Everything is blocked. If somebody wanted to book this property in October, they can't. If they want to book this property in September, they can't. People, Airbnb does not like this. They're not going to push you unless you have an open calendar for at least 12 months. So they might be a reason why she's doing this, but I'm telling you, it's doing the listing a disservice. Okay? So now, let's go back up here. Let's switch to hosting. Let's switch here just to give you an idea of what I'm referring to. And let's go to this property real quick. Let's look at the eyeballs. Okay. Again, I want to show the outside. This is my money picture. This is what people are going to see, right? Now, here's what she should be doing. At least this is my opinion, only because as a frequent traveler, someone that spends a lot of time traveling, I don't have time to read paragraphs. I want to know what your amenities are, what you have, and I want to see that quickly. It should be highlighted, right? I put on here, this is what we have. We have a pool, we have a workstation, we have free Wi-Fi, we have wash and dryer. This is what I want to see. I don't care if you write, it's in like she wrote, the location, there's restaurants. I can see that. And she wrote that 6 people can occupy that property. I know that already because it's listed right here, right? 6 guests, right? Don't waste precious real estate writing crap that you don't need to have on there, okay? So this is the first thing I do. We're going to optimize this part first. Once we optimize that listing on Airbnb, then the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to book that listing. We're going to book it. I want to see what that process looks like with that particular host's PMS system, if they have one. And if they don't have one, I want to see how they're going to treat us as a guest. Once we have that information, then we're going to make our recommendation of what makes that process easier and better. Then the following step is to actually visit the property. Once we get there, I want to see how easy it is to find. Do I need to add any special instructions? Once I get there, how easy it is to access the property. Again, I still don't understand why people aren't using technology, but there are a lot of hosts who don't use technology. So I want to see what that process looks like. Then once we get into the actual property itself, then we're going to do a video of the property. We're going to inspect the property to see what's needed or what we can take away from. Because there are times in which I've gone to properties and the guest overdid it. And we don't want to be extreme on one end or the other. We want to find that nice middle ground between overdoing something and underdoing something, right? So then we want to see is, what can we improve within that property, either through decor, through the furnishings. Can we add some extra amenities at little to no cost to the host? We want to, for me, the biggest thing is when I look at, does the host have a workstation? If they don't, can we add one? Do they have a coffee station? If they don't, can we add one? In today's day and age, that coffee station is critical, and there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't have a coffee station. Also, we want to go ahead and tour the area. We want to see what's close by. We want to see if we can find some hidden gems that the host doesn't know about or hasn't mentioned, so that we can add that to the listing. Plus, we can add additional photos to the photo gallery that are not part of about the actual property itself. I mentioned before, the outside, the surrounding area is critical and more important than what you have inside, right? I'm a firm believer that the actual unit itself is not as important as what you can provide outside of the unit, meaning in your backyard, if you have a patio, in your patio. In this particular Airbnb that we did recently in Puerto Rico, it's in an apartment building. They had a beautiful balcony that they had some stuff there, but I recommended some stuff to make that balcony like pop and really stand out and make it more inviting for people to hang out in that balcony, because it had a beautiful view of the ocean, right? So we want to do that. Those are some of the stuff that we do when we get hired to optimize the property. If you're interested in us optimizing your property, please do me a favor and DM me, buy me a coffee. Let's have that discussion. So now let's get into revenue. All right, so let's talk about revenue. Revenue came in at $49,192.07. Other fees came in at $12,744.74. Booking sources for this week is Airbnb came in at 58.1%. Booking.com came in at 28%. We came in at 5.4%. HomeAway came in at 6%. And then Marriott came in at 2%. In terms of actual nights booked, we had 230 nights booked. We have an occupancy rate of 58.2%, which again, it's lower than what my goal is. We'll see how we end up at the end of the month. My goal is always to be between that 75 and 85% range, but and we'll see how we end up at the end of the month. Our average daily rate is at $165 a night, and our RevPAR is at $95. When we break that down in terms of revenue per platform, Airbnb is at $20,000. Host, we are at $6,300. Others at $3,000, Verbals at $2,000, and then Bookings at $5,000. So in terms of RevPAR, our Wilton Manor property is $247 a night. Miami Luxury is at $261 a night. That's a big drop from previous weeks. Others at $91. Another Wilton Manor property that we have is at $190, and then my Chris Camacho property in Miami is at $236 a night. Okay. We had no real issues this week, except for it's not really an issue, but I've been doing a lot of traveling, so it makes it harder for me to put out a lot of fires because I have to delay certain things. And I'm one of those people that does not like to delay anything. So when we get a phone call or a complaint or anything comes in through our customer service, whether it's a client or it's a guest, I'm one of those people that I like to address that immediately. Unfortunately, because of all the traveling I've been doing this week, it's been a little bit difficult for me to immediately attack and put out some of these fires. But I'm working on that. My staff is getting better each and every week, especially when I'm away. I I try to make sure that someone is in charge to make sure that nothing gets overlooked. In addition of our project progress, as I just mentioned, I've been doing a lot of traveling, spent a lot of time in Puerto Rico. We optimized some properties there. We did a lot of marketing to promote Puerto Rico. I'm a big fan. Obviously, I'm from there. I like to see that place grow. I like to bring on more tourists there. And also, coming up, we're going to be going back to Georgia to see how our property in Georgia is doing. And we're going to be working from Georgia, trying to optimize and finish up some of the tiny homes that we're building. Anyway, hope this information was useful. If it was, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Follow me on Instagram. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.